No, you know what the best part of it is? When you ask it to set a timer, instead of being like just saying I can't set a timer, it's like I don't have the ability to set a timer. If you would like to track the time, you should stare at a clock.
It says wild.
If you would like to track the time, you can manually track the time by looking at a clock.
Maybe I'm just hallucinating this like the rabbit would do, but I swore they took a shot at Humane for timers and like reminders.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Okay, I could be totally wrong on that, but I just assumed this had timers. It is wild that 2 over $100 devices came out in the last month that can't set a timer.
Well, the iPad doesn't have a calculator, so pick your point.
Listen, I and we make fun of that just as much as it deserves to be made fun of. So
yeah, fair.
For a while, the HomePod could only set one timer at a time. Remember that?
That's hilarious.
And it was a huge update when they added it.
A while was like a decade.
Was that we live in an age of wonders?
I think so, yeah. We truly live
It's so funny because on my like my Nest Home, I'll have a timer and I'll be like, oh, this probably needs to be in the oven a little longer. And you can just go like add 10 minutes to that timer and you can watch it just immediately do it. And it's like, that's kind of nice. And there are somehow things in 2023 that can't even get close to doing
Society, if Instagram had an iPad app, we could set multiple timers.
Yeah.
That's
something I would like my personal assistant to be able to do.
Correct.
Could you imagine hiring a personal assistant and being like, remind me in 5 minutes, and it's like, I can't do that.
I can't do it, man. That's something that's not in my wheelhouse. Like, you might have to use your phone.
What are you even for? Yeah. Okay. So, that's all fun. Still for sale.
Why can't you just like download an app, a timer app?
So, interesting. So yesterday, Mashal Rahman, who you guys might know, he used to work with XDA developers. He's now freelance, but mostly doing stuff with Android Authority.
We intervied him
for the Cyanogen mod episode.
Exactly.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I should have just let you say that. I apologize.
Finish our
sandwiches.
There it is.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Alice. He texted me yesterday and he said, dude, you're not going to believe this. And he sent me a screenshot and it was the R1 logo on a Pixel 6a. And effectively, the whole Rabbit OS R1 thing can run on an Android phone because it's basically like the thing that you interact with on the device is basically just an Android app, but it's the only thing you interact with. So the APK that he was able to sideload onto his Pixel 6a went through the whole setup process, just like he would on the Rabbit R1. He was able to, it said like, thanks for inserting your T-Mobile SIM card. Now you can do this, blah, 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 all of this stuff. And he was able to query it, ask it questions, set it up. When he went on to Rabbit Hole, it said, you've got a Rabbit R1.
I think he set it up through the launcher.
Yeah.
Like he set up his Rabbit Hole account on the Pixel 6a.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's just very funny because this technically is just a phone. Because everyone says, why shouldn't this be an app? Why isn't this just an app? And the irony of this whole thing is, it is. It is. It is an app.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like,
but they want us to know. They want them being Rabbit. The Lamb is not an app.
Of course,
it's cloud-based. And
It's
which no one was ever questioning.
I'll just read do you want me to just read the official statement is, we are aware there are some unofficial Rabbit OS app website emulators out there. We understand the passion that people have to get a taste of our AI and Lamb instead of waiting for the R1 to arrive. That being said, to clear any misunderstanding and set the record straight, Rabbit OS and Lamb run on the cloud with a very bespoke AOSP and lower-level firmware modifications. Therefore, a local bootleg APK without the proper OS and cloud endpoints won't be able to access our service. Rabbit OS is customized for R1, and we do not support third-party clients. Using a bootlegged APK or web client carries significant risks. Malicious actors are known to publish bootlegged apps that steal your data. For this reason, we recommend users avoid using these bootleg Rabbit OS apps.
Yeah, I don't really know what he means by bootleg. Mashal was guessing that someone extracted the APK from their R1 and then
compiled
distributed it.
Okay.
And like they were able to run Android apps on the R1. Like
really?
Yeah, they ran a bunch of different Android apps on the R1, which means whatever the OS the R1 is using locally is AOSP based, which is fine. I don't think they didn't actually
assumed it was.
They didn't like lie about anything, right? Nobody's trying to like gotcha rabbit right now. I think the funny kind of ironic thing about all of this is that everyone just keeps saying, why isn't this an app? And it like is. Like the Lamb is running in the cloud, Rabbit OS is running in the cloud, all this stuff. But there is an AOSP like build on the device that is running all that stuff. And because you could port that to an Android phone, because it's Android, it could just be an app. So the big question is just like, why hardware?
Yeah.
Period. Question mark.
Feels very much a business decision.
For sure.
Over anything other practical other than that.
Right.
I mean, I think the pros here are if it was an app, you have everything that it can do in this Lamb in the future that does sound really cool. We all agreed large action model sounds really cool, except imagine it with way better computing power, better interactions, better camera, pretty much better everything.
Better screen, better battery life, better. Yeah.
But then when you're a Rabbit, the better part of it is selling an app and marketing an app is so much harder than a bright, shiny, teenage engineered orange.
Yeah.
Box.
This developed an insane amount of hype. You can tell that because every time we've talked about it on the podcast, it gets like more views than anything else.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it next week also.
Obviously. So yeah, it's like, nobody's trying to gotcha them. It's not like they lied about anything. It's just kind of adds to all of the irony about how it definitely could be an app.
Yeah, the interesting thing to me too is like if you take this statement and you assume it's true, right? Let's say that this is a bootlegged app, which I'm assuming what he means by that is that someone saw the popularity of Rabbit, they made some random APK app that simulates what it's like to be on Rabbit OS. Let's say that's true. Okay, but then the device itself still runs AOSP, does it not?
Yeah,
Yes.
Like that's what everyone is assuming.
the device
Yeah.
itself runs AOSP.
That's what everyone is saying, but they seem to have a problem with us pointing it out.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know why they're so defensive.
I think
about
they're
that
worried.
point.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's the part that confuses me.
Sorry, cut you off.
No, yeah, but give me your thoughts.
I think that they are worried that people will think like that nothing is running in the cloud and everything is local and that you could just run everything on the phone, which is clearly not true. That's not how Google does it either. Like Gemini Ultra runs in the cloud on all these servers. Siri runs in the cloud when you query it. It's like, it's not like it's just gonna be all local. But I think that they're worried that people think it is, because if it all was, then yeah, you could just put it on a phone.
I saw a comment, which was just obviously not great comment, but it was saying like, I don't get Marques really thinks these large action models could run on a phone. And it's like, no, he just thinks that the way it's running on the Rabbit would run better on a phone because the Rabbit is less powerful and all the cloud-based stuff is still going to work better as an app. It doesn't make as much sense.
Because it is an app.
Because it's an app.
Like,
Yeah. Giving this thing better hardware would not make it worse.
It'd be crazy if it did. Let's be real. If it
Hot
did,
take.
that'd be a sweet.
Spicy take, I know.
so I don't know. Just think it's funny.
I'd buy a phone in that orange immediely.
I did.
I don't even know what it would be.
There were a
would
lot
buy
of
it.
comments like that on the review
That orange?
of like, yo, that color though, that design,
Which
though?
is the entire reason I got
kind of nice.
press.
I feel like that color needs to be the color of the like hats or scarves that celebrities wear when they don't want the paparazzi to
Yo,
take photos
I
of
like
them.
those a lot,
It
yeah.
straight up like broke Quinn took a photo of it next to the humane pin and it was like artifacted because his computer or his phone's like camera just could not compute correctly what
just doesn't
exposure
look-
it needed.
Yeah, the difference between like the side of it and the top of it or whatever as it reflects light, both overwhelm the sensor. So it just looks like it's a flat, oversaturated orange stripe on your screen. It's crazy.
It is impossible to get this on camera.
Yeah.
The Eclipse isn't going to break your sensor. The Rabbit R1 is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's wild.
I still want one.
I still kind of want one.
Oh my gosh.
I want. Well, here's the
Have you
thing.
guys
I
looked
want it, and then I think about what will I do with this, and I
Nothing.
go
It'll
nothing.
sit on
But
your
it will
desk.
look so cool on my desk.
My goodness. I'm glad at least it doesn't die immediately.
I'm
Here's
not
the
gonna buy
question.
one.
You want one. What were you going to do with it? Because imagine it's an app. Like, how often would you open that app on your phone?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because it's not an app, I'm interested in it.
Okay, so they got
see,
you.
I see their point. Like they got me. Because if it was an app, it doesn't work. So like
What do
I
you
wouldn't
mean?
I wouldn't really use it
What do you
as
mean?
an app.
like the actual functionality.
Yeah, the
of
functionality is
current-
very.
Oh, you mean because it lies to you?
Yeah,
You
of
mean?
current how it is right now.
Well, and
it's
even
not
just
very
like the
useful.
current large action models are only
Oh,
4 apps,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
not great. Like,
Yeah.
I still think there's a huge future in that and how it's working. But like, that's not what the
where they got
consumer's
me as well.
getting. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, like eventually, some point down the line, if that thing works, I would take it alongside my phone, not instead of a phone, but I 100% would take that alongside a phone.
Instead of just an app.
and pocket
Instead of
two
just an
things
app,
like
yeah.
this.
Because
all
like
the
think
time.
about this.
Yeah,
What if the
I-
rabbit could just be your assistant on your phone?
It could, but you have a camera on your phone, but you
Yeah.
still carry around a camera.
I do.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
Exceedingly
it's,
rare, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm
but
saying.
it's that kind of device to me. Like I feel like having that separated out of my phone, I would enjoy that.
Yeah. I could see this being like a launcher, an Android launcher. Because there's a lot. What I was thinking is this is kind of like a dumb phone, you know? There's like the whole dumb phone trend that's going on right now. It's like you can't use social media and you can't do this and you can't do that. It's not even a trend, just people are talking about it as
Ellis
if it
pulls
is
out
a trend.
his
It left it on my
e-tablet.
desk.
It's like I mean, like I see what you mean. It could be similar to like the palm phone where it's
was the
like
idea
a
of the palm phone.
secondary. You
Yeah.
keep your phone in your bag, and then you have this like less intrusive
Like you're going on a
Which
hike.
I totally get that. I think the thing that keeps striking me about like why this thing is useful is it's because it's an assistant and it has to be useful to you. And to be useful to you, you need it to know all the stuff about you. But because it's separate from your phone and doesn't connect to your phone at all, it doesn't know any of the things about you. And so you have to really dedicate yourself to like shoveling information into it to get anything out of it.
Or they can just allow Google to input all my information, and there it is. If they partner with Google.
The more I think about this and how we said before, like imagine if you actually hired an assistant and they couldn't do a timer. That's what I just now I'm going to think about every time they're like, oh, this can't do it, or it's messing that up. And be like, if I hired an assistant and said, hey, can you Uber Eats me something? It's like, I can only do DoorDash. And also I can't really read the menu. And I'm not sure where you're located for me to do this right now.
Yeah,
just
that's-
gonna
I would be
go-
like, I would fire them. I would not.
not
yeah.
useful. Yeah, that's how I'm literally thinking about this. And by the way, it does have some cool features that are like superhuman features. Like I pointed at my screen and it reads the whole page instantly and gives me a summary.
I was
Like,
going to say
fast-
assistants can read usually.
Right, but like this will be faster than a human. So I'll point at it like a page-long article. I don't think I can scroll yet because I don't think it reads on video. But I'll point it at like a full-page thing, and I'll say, "Give me a summary of that." It'll give me 2-3 sentences like right away. Like that's super useful. Like if a person could do that, because it's got a brain and it's got an eye and it like looks at the thing and reads it for you. That's cool. So that glimpse of like what it could be is fun. But yeah, it just needs so much more like information about the person, and that information's on your phone.
Yeah.
So that's what gets me really curious about what we're going to see in the next couple of weeks, because we have Google I/O coming up. We're starting to see some rumors about Safari and Siri and AI starting to like melt together a little bit in possibly WWDC announcements. So I'm obviously curious about what Siri could look like if it was good. And what Google Assistant could possibly start to do if they see what these AI assistant in a box things are good at. And
Your
start to-
Siri is listening to
I
you
know,
right now.
I said Siri, and I said, I'm sorry for saying Siri so often. Siri. So sorry about that. But yeah, I'm curious what we're going to see from these companies in the next few weeks, because they clearly have seen these announcements and they're clearly going to start to make some stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll see if Google does. I mean, I think we're all expecting Google to, but it's also
you triggered
Google.
There you go.
Google.
You triggered mine.
Yeah, it's Google, so I can't promise that they will actually integrate this, even though this is their time. They should be doing everything that this does, but just in Google Assistant right now. But it's also Google.
Google should just buy it.
It's also true about that's a hot take. About
That's my hot take.
Apple, because okay, spoiler alert. We had a conversation with Jesse, the co-founder of Rabbit, like before we got to use the product, right?
Yeah.
And I asked him all these questions. Why is it not an app? What do you guys think of your head start over these other big players? And one of the things he talked about was, we believe we're going to have this head start essentially forever, because it's like we've put in the work and we have this LAM, and that iteration will always be one step ahead of whatever Google or Apple decides to start making today. And I I get the philosophy. It's like GPT-4 will always be ahead of whoever started after GPT-4.
But that's not true.
But it's not necessarily.
Think about the
always true.
Vision Pro.
What about Vision Pro?
Like, it's a first generation headset from Apple.
Right, but it's
And
later than.
It's
Yeah, I
got
guess
way more
hardware.
features than like a lot of the other headsets.
Yeah, I guess like training wise, if you think of their models as iterating on top of each other, that they think that their lead is safe in that department.
I don't know.
Still hard to justify.
I
That-
doubt it.
That sentence is exactly what I would say if I wanted someone to pay me for the work that I've done and just license this out and get bought out by someone.
But on the other hand, like when's the last time Apple did anything about Siri?
2014.
I kind
Is
of
it
get it
really?
from that perspective.
Did we ever
too.
do a bet of like what would come first, like updated better Siri or the calculator app? Because if we do, now we're finding out.
Yeah, this might be a huge year.
They both come out
This
at
could be
Dub
both.
this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this could be the biggest dub of all time.
The biggest Dub of all time. The only way they can one up the Vision Pro Dub is
Instagram
calculator app.
tablet app. We could be here all day. Oh yeah, so yeah, get
Subscribed.
What's yours look like?
I changed the David font.
Today.
subscribed today. Also, thanks for watching this clip.